Morning holds laughter. Your eyes sunrise. My heart sails. Desert finds mercy. Clouds learn softness. Falcons dream gently. Wind carries prayers. Sand keeps secrets. Stars bow closer. Light becomes home. Your smile teaches. My soul listens. Today feels wide. Hope walks barefoot. Time rests quietly. Love speaks slowly. Hands hold promises. Breath turns music. Sky writes blessings. Earth answers softly. You are a miracle. I am grateful. Joy finds shelter. In your gaze. Worries lose weight. Dreams grow wings. Silence turns gold. Patience becomes song. Steps find rhythm. Heart finds courage. Eyes keep oceans. Laughter breaks shadows. Peace enters rooms. Night leaves early. Dawn stays longer. My fears soften. Your name glows. Roads feel kind. Storms choose distance. Fire becomes warmth. Cold learns kindness. Sleep guards dreams. Dreams guard future. Future feels gentle. Gentle feels strong. Strength stays humble. Humble stays bright. Bright stays near. Near feels safe. Safe feels home. Home feels endless. Endless feels simple. Simple feels true. True feels alive. Alive feels thankful. Thankful feels rich. Rich feels giving. Giving feels light. Light feels honest. Honest feels brave. Brave feels calm. Calm feels clear. Clear feels open. Open feels free. Free feels pure. Pure feels deep. Deep feels steady. Steady feels sure. Sure feels quiet. Quiet feels kind. Kind feels warm. Warm feels close. Close feels right. Right feels now. Now feels ours. Ours feels blessed. Blessed feels earned. Earned feels shared. Shared feels strong. Strong feels gentle. Gentle feels lasting. Lasting feels real. Real feels precious. Precious feels rare. Rare feels simple. Simple feels enough. Enough feels peace. Peace feels yours. Yours feels mine. Mine feels ours. Ours feels forever. Forever feels today. Today feels happy. Happy feels true. True feels love. Love feels you. Your laugh rises. Like sunrise prayer. Over quiet dunes. My days follow. Your small footsteps. Across soft light. Hope learns patience. From your breathing. Fear forgets names. When you arrive. Rooms grow kinder. Walls learn listening. Clocks lose hurry. Hours choose peace. Peace chooses us. Us choose wonder. Wonder chooses stay. Stay chooses now. Now chooses joy. Joy chooses song. Song chooses air. Air chooses wings. Wings choose sky. Sky chooses blue. Blue chooses calm. Calm chooses heart. Heart chooses you. You choose smiles. Smiles choose warmth. Warmth chooses closeness. Closeness chooses trust. Trust chooses light. Light chooses path. Path chooses ease. Ease chooses rest. Rest chooses dreams. Dreams choose courage. Courage chooses growth. Growth chooses patience. Patience chooses grace. Grace chooses mercy. Mercy chooses giving. Giving chooses plenty. Plenty chooses thanks. Thanks choose quiet. Quiet chooses depth. Depth chooses truth. Truth chooses clarity. Clarity chooses peace. Peace chooses home. Home chooses laughter. Laughter chooses morning. Morning chooses hope. Hope chooses tomorrow. Tomorrow chooses promise. Promise chooses keeping. Keeping chooses care. Care chooses gentleness. Gentleness chooses strength. Strength chooses balance. Balance chooses wisdom. Wisdom chooses listening. Listening chooses understanding. Understanding chooses forgiveness. Forgiveness chooses freedom. Freedom chooses flight. Flight chooses horizon. Horizon chooses waiting. Waiting chooses faith. Faith chooses patience. Patience chooses bloom. Bloom chooses color. Color chooses life. Life chooses wonder. Wonder chooses you. Your name settles. Like soft rain. On warm sand. My chest opens. To quiet light. And steady hope. Even shadows listen. When you breathe. Even mountains rest. When you smile. Days learn meaning. From your presence. Nights lose weight. From your dreams. Roads feel shorter. With your laughter. Distances feel kind. With your memory. My worries kneel. Before your peace. My doubts fade. Into your eyes. Every small moment. Finds new gold. Every simple second. Finds new song. At every step. Steps find rhythm. With your heart. Heart finds promise. In small moments. Moments find meaning. Without loud words. Words find gentleness. Inside our days. Days find grace. Without asking why. Why finds silence. Silence finds truth. Truth finds staying. Staying finds roots. Roots find water. Water finds life. Life finds wonder. Wonder finds you. Your small hands. Hold whole worlds. Inside silence. My eyes learn. New kinds wonder. From your breathing. Even simple light. Feels like blessing. Even quiet corners. Feel like gardens. Walls remember laughter. Floors remember steps. Windows remember dawn. Doors remember hope. My name changes. When you say. My fears loosen. When you stay. My thoughts soften. When you smile. My days widen. When you laugh. My nights rest. When you sleep. Time becomes river. Flowing without hurry. Hours become feathers. Falling without weight. Minutes become prayers. Spoken without words. Words become bridges. Crossing without fear. Fear becomes memory. Memory becomes lesson. Lesson becomes kindness. Kindness becomes habit. Habit becomes home. Home becomes feeling. Feeling becomes warmth. Warmth becomes promise. Promise becomes keeping. Keeping becomes trust. Trust becomes quiet. Quiet becomes strong. Strong becomes gentle. Gentle becomes lasting. Lasting becomes peace. Peace becomes breath. Breath becomes rhythm. Rhythm becomes walking. Walking becomes journey. Journey becomes sharing. Sharing becomes plenty. Plenty becomes gratitude. Gratitude becomes light. Light becomes guide. Guide becomes hand. Hand becomes holding. Holding becomes shelter. Shelter becomes rest. Rest becomes dreaming. Dreaming becomes growing. Growing becomes becoming. Becoming becomes you. You become morning. Morning becomes reason. Reason becomes smile. Smile becomes answer. Answer becomes calm. Calm becomes now. Now becomes ours. Ours becomes enough. Your quiet courage builds soft bridges across my doubts, my tired questions. Find warm answers. I walk slower to keep joy. I speak softer to keep wonder. I hold silence like a gift. I hold time like water. I hold you like prayer. Sky keeps watch over our days. Earth keeps promise under our steps. Wind keeps stories inside our hours. Stars keep letters for our nights. Light keeps finding your small hands. Hope keeps growing inside my chest. Love keeps learning your true name. Patience keeps waiting beside our door. Kindness keeps sitting near our hearts. Trust keeps building without loud words. Peace keeps staying without asking why. Joy keeps coming without being called. I keep smiling without reason. Because today shines. Because you are. Because we are. Because love stays. Because life feels wide and gentle. Because hearts choose to be brave. Because dreams walk beside our steps. Because tomorrow waits with open light. Because this moment is enough. Your small voice teaches morning's hope. Teaches evening's rest. My hands learn better patience daily. From your quiet, even silence smiles. When you arrive, even tired roads feel like gardens. Steps become lighter. Breath becomes prayer. Eyes become windows to softer worlds. Heart becomes shelter from noisy fears. Time becomes kinder. When you are, waiting becomes easy. When you are, work becomes song. When you are, storms lose teeth. When you are, dark finds candles. When you are, cold finds fire. When you are, fire finds purpose. When you are, purpose finds path. When you are, path finds shade. When you are, shade finds rest. When you are, rest finds dreams. When you are, dreams find courage. When you are, courage finds voice. When you are, voice finds truth. When you are, truth finds home. When you are, home finds laughter. When you are, laughter finds echo. In my chest, chest finds peace. In your smile, smile finds answer. To my worries, worries find sleep. Inside calm nights, nights find stars. Inside your eyes, eyes find oceans. Without fear, fear finds exit. Through open doors,